My name is Nadine Khalil. I'm an art critic and consultant based in Dubai. My curatorial research focuses on performance in relation to what I call technological embodiment, which makes me very excited to speak to the panelists who I have here today. On a general level, we're looking at art and technology inside art in terms of amplification, but also very much in terms of communication, the relationship between human and non-human collaborators. I'm going to share some of the questions I have before I introduce my panelists with me here today. To what extent do machines perform our desires? How do we communicate and name non-human bodies? How do we perceive them? What does AI learn from us as we learn from them? What are the limits and possibilities of human-machine creativity? And how, especially, can we reconsider the definitions of what an artist and what a curator does in relation to these emerging technologies? And what new symbioses might come in the decades of the future? And first, I would like to introduce to my right, Do-Yoon Choi. I'm doing my best with my pronunciation, who is the art director at Hyundai Motor and has curated a range of international exhibitions centered around art and technology in the world, including Why the Future Still Needs Us, AI and Humanity, in Seoul 2012 biennial, and also the 01 biennial the same year. And just to give a bit of context about Hyundai, apart from working with global museums and institutions such as the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Korea, Tate, LACMA, and the Korean Pavilion at Venice, it also has art initiatives, including the Art Lab editorial, which many of you might have heard of, working with art writers, which is actually quite a unique platform. And next to June is Suyun Lee, who's the curator of the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, which I'm just going to call MMCA from now on. And your education is in linguistics and art history, and your research really looks at Asian artists who are focusing on digital and electronic media, but also engaging with socioeconomic transformations in the 1990s and 2000s. So we'll do a little bit of history today as well. And since 2008, you've been working both inside and outside the museum, organizing exhibitions such as the Paik Namjoon effect, and it's hard for me to say that because I'm always thinking of Namjoon Paik, but so that was in 2022. You've also done Project Hashtag in 2021 and published books such as Pavilion, Feel the Feelings, and Feelings in the City 2015. At the moment, you're working on the Korea Art Prize, which is a very well-known award that kind of promotes Korean artists globally. And next to you, there's Soo-Jin Park, also working at MMCA, and formerly research curator at the Brooklyn Museum of New York. And from 2000 until now, you've done a lot of work on Korean modern and contemporary art, co-authored the book Korean Art from the 1900s to the 2020, published in 2022, published by the museum. And major exhibitions include Artists in Their Times, Korean Modern and Contemporary Art in 2020 to 2022, The Sounds of Things. We will be talking a lot about sound today, materiality in contemporary Korean art since the 1970s. And last but not least, I have Dr. Gus Cha. Okay, Dr. Gus Cha, who is assistant professor in machine learning at the Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence here, and is also a professional musician, interested in designing interactive intelligence systems and how these can extend and expand musical composition and expression. Your research is centered on machine learning, human-computer interaction, robotics, computer music. We will be seeing some examples here today. You also did the first Music AI concert here last year, which I'd love to hear more about. And so without further ado, I would love to start in this order before we open it up to the audience. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm glad to see many familiar faces at the same time, new faces here today. And I would like to start my presentation regarding the practices in AI and art. I'm not sure how much of you familiar with this picture I'm showing on the left-hand side called AlphaGo vice versa resettle. And that was in 2016 when we have the DeepMind challenge match held in March 2016 in Seoul between AlphaGo, DeepMind computer Go program, and Resettle, a renowned Go player. And Resettle won only the first game, and AlphaGo won 4 games as a result of Resettle's origination. The game of Go is actually distinguished by its complexity, which requires the use of intuitions as well as creative strategic thinking. So it has been widely recognized as a significant challenge in the field of artificial intelligence, surpassing the chess game. So as of this match, there were numerous news and emerged, creating a heightened sense of curiosity among the public. This curiosity was accompanied by nervousness, actually, as there was a concern that machines' defeat against human would be interpreted as all-encompassing defeat for humanity itself. However, Risetto himself said his loss was the one. It was not interpreted as a defeat for all of humanity. Following this event, in which I reflected on the implication of artificial intelligence on humanity as a whole, and then I curated an exhibition titled "Why the Future Still Needs Us: AI and Humanity" during my time at Art Center Dhabi. This exhibition examined a new relationship between humans and machines. Of course, several artists in this exhibition have explored accessible artificial intelligence technology to create artworks that delve into the technology's capabilities as both a creator and an enhanced collaborator. These works demonstrate AI's ability to learn and operate autonomously outside of the established boundaries of human-machine interaction. However, there was another artwork which was commissioned artwork called Brain Factory by Maurice Benayoun and his collaborator, also raised questions about the role of humans, as you see on the right-hand side. And that one actually, through that work, the artist addresses that machine face a complex task in understanding human emotion, which requires the involvement of humans in gathering sufficient emotional data for machine learning. When an individual encountered an emotion-related or abstract word, their brainwave activity is recorded and used to facilitate machine learning in order to improve future human-machine communication with the great depths of understanding. As you can see, the artificial intelligence is playing a critical role in the ongoing transformation of contemporary society. As a result, we must pay close attention to the insight and perspectives provided by AI. That's why the program called Art and Technology Season 6, which is an art film series co-produced by Hyundai Motor and Bloomberg Media Studio, invited AI-generated entities such as ChatGPT, you all know, and the robot Sophia to participate in dialogue alongside our human participant. Due to the time constraint, I won't play the video here, but you are encouraged to visit our social media platforms or our website where you can find the links. And we also have supported various initiatives that investigate the emerging relations between humans and machines as a part of our museum partnerships. One of them is called Hyundai Commission Anikai, In Love with the World at Tate Modern, which explores the concept of coexistence between humans and autonomous machines in a natural environment. It was raising the questions of experimental implication of a new ecosystem. I won't show you full length of the video, but you can see how it was floating in the air. And these aerobes, inspired by ocean life forms and mushrooms, invites thought about new approaches to machine life in our new ecosystem. And these machines were collecting the data and beyond the human-machine interactions and questioning. Only the artificial intelligence are often discussed about the brain. Where is the embodiment? And that was the question she raised, and then a lot of people at the beginning just enjoyed to kind of immerse in the environment to see the aerobes, but at the same time, they kind of reflect on the questions. And another project we are showing here is Seoul Weather Station by the artist duo Moon and John. And actually it was a partnership with Arts Sunday Center, and one of our robotics lab technically supported to bring the robot on the work. And the director of the museum and program director will share more their engagement, as I believe the day after tomorrow, so I won't go further details, but this exhibition actually invite the spot as a dialogue for like the genuine component of the discussion on the climate change, and often only regarded as the conversation between humans, and how we can bring non-human component in the conversation where we are facing climate change in a rapid transformation. I think that's it for today, and we...
Thank you. So I'm just gonna, as each one presents, I'll just be asking a question so that I don't actually lose track, and then it's easier at the end. It's really interesting how artists are imagining machines as sensorial beings, but also how machines are learning from our emotionality. And so I think it was very significant that you showed Annika Yi's Xenojalis, because also if you look at the word xeno, which means foreigners, it is this kind of curiosity towards the otherness that, you know, many theorists have said is already always within us. Technology is a reflection of the alterity that already exists within us. And I was wondering if maybe you could just respond to just one comment, is that to what extent do you think these machinic imaginaries created by artists that you've been working with have become performative or performers, you know, and maybe you could give an example if that's relevant.
I think in the discussion of AI and human and machine, we started as differentiate human vice versa machine, but I think we already passed that status, or the conversation should really include machine, or we hear the attentiveness of the machine, how we can move forward and be prepared for the future. So performances, when you have, whether your way of thinking reflects on your previous memories or traces of your activities, I think that is already embodied in the machine itself. So there are so many different layers of how human and machine interact, but nowadays that performative areas of a field of their interaction has been already achieved, and it is more about the emotional and further conversation between man and machine.
Yeah, because it's interesting when we think of improvisation, of course, improvisation, there's an element of it that's already learned. So I guess the analogy works. And I think also the presentations that will come now from both MMCA curators here is this idea of artists as forecasters using technology to enable this kind of forecast. So I'd love to hear what Suyan has to say.
Thank you, Nadine. I think that my presentation could be about the embodiment of the machine, like how, machines are from, human, cultures or human experience maybe. So hi, everyone. I'm Suyan Lee, the creator of MMCA, as introduced. It is an honor to have an opportunity to share the talk in Abu Dhabi. You still have, okay, this is me. Thanks for the invitation and with great guests. These days, technology and human relations is a common topic in contemporary art scene, yet it is a rare chance to talk about the different perceptions or the views on technology cross-culturally. So I'd like to take advantage of this joint event happening in Abu Dhabi, and would like to share some examples how technology, especially robotic bodies of televisions, video sculptures were introduced in Korea along with the ideal of Baeknamjun in the middle of the 1990s, actually. While Korea is plunging into a globalization, rebuilding the national identities for the future. As you are all aware of, Baeknamjun is a pioneer of video art and an internationally renowned artist with Fluxus movement. He spent most of his days in Germany, Japan, and US, and it was only after the 1980s that he returned to Korea and introduced famous video sculpture robots to Korean audience. At first, he thought people will have difficulties in understanding television sculptures, so that he tried to find a form or a subject that could intrigue Korean audience to like or love them. It is how he tried to mediate the technology and the Korean culture. For example, this gigantic tower you see, it's comprised of 1,003 TVs located at MMCA Gwacheon, named after a Korean proverb, very famous one, the more the better. So people could easily relate to the immersed effect of the work, actually. Even long before coming back to Korea, Baek was already a mediator between technology and culture. A famous example is like this: when cybernetics was first introduced by Nobel winner in the 1960s, it was a very difficult concept to follow, even for young pioneered artists in New York. You know that the cybernetics is a wide, ranging field, concerned with circular causal processes, such as feedback. Those feedback loops are about inputs and outputs with the principles of, causality. When Baek's colleague had difficulties to understand the idea of cybernetics, Baek immediately translated into the old East Asia Buddhist philosophy karma, the relationship between person's mental or physical action and the consequences following the action. So good comes out of good, evil comes out of evil. That's cybernetics. As such, Baek has always tried to find a way to remediate the technology with existing culture, and it was same with Korean audience. That is how robotic bodies, Korean historical subjects, were introduced in his solo show in the 1990s. So robotic humanoid bodies, video sculptures by Baek became famous and loved by Korean public in the first huge solo show of Baeknamjun at MMCA. That happened at MMCA Gwacheon at that time. The name of the show was Baeknamjun Baek Video Time, Video Space, and that was 1992. And my story begins with the show from 30 years ago. In one word, the show was a great success. It's a huge success. Although the exhibition was held for only 34 days, it attracted 112,000 paid visitors, which was first time ever in the history of MMCA for a contemporary art exhibition at the time. So I'll explain a little bit about the background infos for the show. These are, the posters and the tickets from the show. As mentioned, this show was made around the time of the globalization of Korea, especially Korean art scene, including government sector, required a new frontier for the future development while hosting the 1986 Asian Games and the 1988 Olympic Games. A yearning for Koreanness or Korean beauty emerged, leading to an active cooperation between the developmentalist industrial capital and the technology. So a good example of Peck's contribution to such event is like Bye Bye Kipling or Wrap Around the World, the satellite projects to bring art and sports together on the occasion of the 1986 Asian Games. Using most advanced technology of media at the time, Peck could immediately, successfully deliver the key agendas of the government, laying the groundwork for a successful hosting of a global event connecting Korea with the world. With this backdrop, for his big solo show in the 1992, Peck carefully considered the Korean viewers who were not familiar with the latest trends of the Western art, such as video installation, fluxes, or performances. In particular, he attempted to select popular subjects that would benefit the Korean sentiment in his first major exhibition in the country. Thus, a number of robotic bodies of televisions, video sculptures featuring Korea as their subjects were presented. And these are just archival images from those days, from 30 years ago. You could see them in robots. And last year, in the 2022, MMC has organized a Baeknamjun exhibit after 30 years of the Video Time video space, and the show was after Beck's legacy on Korean contemporary art and technology. The title was Baeknamjun Effect. Baeknamjun Effect juxtaposes works by Baeknamjun reflecting his way of using technology into contemporary art alongside works by other Korean artists with the aim of recalling the histories of complex thoughts and agonies as they prepared for the next chapter of the new era with the idea of new technology, progress for the future. That was like 1990s thing for Korea. And I'll just shortly introduce several of important text work from both shows. Okay. Firstly, Baeknamjun reincarnated familiar historical figures as robots for Korean spectators. A robot series was created based on figures from Korean history and traditional legend, including Queen Sandak, Ondaren the Fool, and Kim Yu-shin and Jang Young-sil. This one is Jang Young-sil. Jang Young-sil was an attempt to embody the encounter of Joseon Dynasty scientist Jang Young-sil's inventive spirit with modern civilization's state-of-the-art science. It consists of video robot representing Jang. The robots are Jang Young-sil himself, and the video sculpture that appeared to be his inventions. Chugugi, the measuring rainfall device, was his invention, and then that's actually in front of these robots. It's from 15th century of Joseon Dynasty. And the other example is the Kim Yu-shin. You can see that, from both shows, installations. Kim Yu-shin represents the appearance of General Kim Yu-shin on horseback through various communication media, including old TV monitors, telephones, and radio, symbolizing harmony among technology, humans, and civilization. In the hope that Korean viewers of the 90s who were not yet used to video sculptures or robotic bodies would stay before the work for long periods, Peck effectively appropriated the portrait of historical figures. And I just brought some, installations, images to show you that, it needed really lots of care to build a robot out of TVs.
And this affected the relationship with robots in Korea. I think we've spoken about that, the naming and the relationship with robots, which is something is quite peculiar and culturally accepted. But I mean, I know we are a little bit short on time.
Okay.
So the question that I have is, I mean, everyone has heard of Namjoon Paik.
Okay.
Was there any, and I see how he was responding to something happening in Korea as well as what he brought in terms of fluxes and those kinds of gatherings or happenings as they called them. But was there anything actually also happening in Korea around net art that might be more insular and not known Or do you feel that Nam June Paik is really the influence within Korea in terms of like new media artists today? Like, is he the real pioneer?
I brought actually most of the, the works are from, Baek Namjoon's robots. But actually for Baek Namjoon effect, there were other works from other artists. So I'm not sure about the robotic bodies, but for example, for this picture on the left side is a Hong Seong-do, and then this work installation is from the car, Hyundai car actually. And then it was around the time that for the Korean, families, it's kind of a thing that they wanted to have a car, and it's kind of their dream to achieve. So it's technology. Of course, a car is a technology, but at the same time, it's kind of a symbolizing the dream of the family in a sense. And then after 30 years, we reinstalled this piece, and then we kind of thought it's kind of the end of the rear, like the car, era. So now we are trying to find a substitute for the, the different, design of cars with different fuels. So yeah, it's kind of a thing that, after Baek Namjoon, a lot of Korean artists were aware of the technology and aware of the, the machines, and then how they could actually, effectively influence our lives, the way of living and things like that. So I think that's.
So it was like he went out, came back in, and that's the hybridity, right?
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Okay, thank you very much. I'll just skip through that.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. My name is Sujin Park, Senior Curator, and I am in charge of exhibitions at the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art. So, the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, Seoul, is the only national art museum in Korea. There are four branches, and we are currently building a fifth branch. Today, I would like to introduce you to our interdisciplinary art program. The National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, Seoul, focuses on contemporary art and has been operating the interdisciplinary art program for 10 years. To briefly introduce interdisciplinary art, interdisciplinary art is a type of contemporary art that challenges the boundaries of traditional visual art by combining different genres and media. It explores new forms of art and reveals the complexities of our society. In 2020, we held a project called A Museum for Everyone, A Museum for Dogs. We planned an exhibition that would appeal to dogs, considering them as one of our audiences. The project asked questions about the intersection of Anthropocene and museums, the meaning of pet ownership in modern society, and the public role of museums. In 2022, we had a project called Carbon Project. We calculated the amount of carbon emissions generated by the museum in the progress of creating and operating several exhibitions. Based on this data, experts, citizens, and artists from various backgrounds gathered in an interdisciplinary space to discuss and contemplate on the sustainability and future of the museums. And in 2021, we held a project called Multiverse, focusing on the relationship between art and technology. I would like to introduce the 2021 Multiverse project and the works of two artists who participate in it. The world is expanding and changing with the imagination of art and the development of technology. Art has always been a medium for exploring other worlds and experimenting with new senses and perceptions. In recent years, these explorations have met with new technologies and science, creating new realities. The two artists I will introduce today are Kim Chen-chips and Hunida Kim. Kim Chen-chips is a duo formed in 2009 by a South Korean digital artist Song Min-mi and British physicist Elliot Woods. In their artwork Hello, Kim Chen-chips used 99 robotics that moves along the orbit of the sun to create drawing in the air. 99 robotic mirrors reflect light to create a circle in the mist floating in the air. Kim Chen-chips visualize the sun. Here, the image is a physical pathway between the imaginary and the physical. In other words, when the imaginary enters the physical world, it enters through the image. It is also an interesting attempt to boldly take uncontrollable natural elements. I'm sorry. Yeah. And 99 robotic mirrors reflect. The forms of the circle is greatly affected by light and wind, so the audience must wait to see it. Moreover, the same form of the circle is never created. The artists pursue uncertainty and chance by incorporating natural elements in the work. It is also an interesting attempt to boldly take uncontrollable natural elements as a material and subject of sensation in the work. I think it may be referring to the limitation of technology that cannot be completely controlled. And Hunida Kim's landscape being decoded is a work of art that uses LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging sensors, a technology used in autonomous driving to allow visitors to experience space through sound. The device is a complex system consisting of 8 speakers, a display, and a laptop. A LiDAR sensor on the head of the wearer emits laser pulses and measures the time it takes for them to return to determine the location of the space and convert it into auditory sound. The device scans the space by The device scans the space by rotating 10 times per second in 16 directions. And this is a manual for this device, a guide to assessing the artist's work. As the wearer walks through the space, they hear sounds of objects approaching and then disappearing. The sine wave sound becomes clearer as something gets closer. This experience allows the wearer to perceive something that is not easily sensed. The device also acts as a kind of gateway or medium that helps to create interactions with other objects in the space. The device is large and heavy, measured 2 meters high, 1 meter in diameter, and weighing 30 kilograms. When worn on the body, it moves jerkily, making movement difficult, and the response to the outside world feels like buffering. Just as we may be adapting to new senses, unlike when we didn't use smartphones a few decades ago, so we may be feeling anxious if we don't have our smartphones. In today's world, with the rapid pace of social changes and the enormous amount of information, it is difficult for human perception and sentiment to keep up with the changes. The act of experiencing space with a different sense by attaching this unfamiliar device to the body raises the question of whether we are actually embodying the changing digital mindset and sentiment today. Kunida Kim has been working on a project that sees objects differently through digital means, reinterpreting them and rethinking about humanity. The relationship between art and technology is not simply about creating a scientific toy or emphasizing the possibility of a perfect world by displaying technology. Art and technology are tools and gateways that connect the world. Art reflects and reveals the current technology and social changes with the current senses. In other words, art asks questions about the rapidly changing society caused by advancement in technology, while also contemplating and reconsidering the human beings at the center of it. That's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. It's interesting actually to me that you chose those two particular projects in specific because it really denotes this need to control but this precarity that we live in. You know, in the first case, the robotic mirror is trying to capture the light that keeps changing, right, and that you can't always see. And the second case, a spatialization of sound through LiDAR, which is really used in the self-driving cars. And so I thought it would be nice before we move on to Gus for you to maybe give a little bit more context about this idea of the multiverse, which you said has been happening for 10 years. Am I correct?
In 2021.
Oh, only since 2021. But the idea of multiverse, you know, as a concept comes from physics, this idea that there are multiple universes that exist and we can't see them or access them. But then, you know, this using of like technology to make certain things visible, but also unclear. You know, I mean, in the case of LiDAR, you were describing how, you know, wearing this and then you're just hearing the sound is helping you understand where you are in the world. And so maybe if you could say more just about that program, Multiverses, and why this term. I think it's very interesting because it also has a relationship, multiverse also has a relationship to science fiction and other elements of when we think of narratives.
Thank you for question. The 2021 Multiverse project is a new challenge for artistic imagination that use technology. I can say Kimchi and Chips is trying to create new forms of images to exist in the world. And Kunida Kim is trying to make visitor experience by attaching unfamiliar device to the body. And there is a gap between sentiment and a changing digital mindset. Yeah. So there were 6 artists in the exhibition. I choose 2 artists. Yeah. I hope this
And it's an ongoing program, right?
This is one of our interdisciplinary art programs. So
And it's under performing arts, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll talk more after. Thank you. Gus.
Actually, when I stand up, it's a little bit cold here, so I have to. I like the question actually. What is metaverse? We have this concept recently, but if you think of your laptop, we call it desktop. That's actually a mirroring of our physical world, right? And we humans do not only live in our physical world, we have our imagination, right? Now we have our AI, which is a mirroring of our human intelligence. And through the mirroring, what do we do through mirror to understand ourselves better, right? But mirror is always like yourself, but not exactly. That's what exactly AI is serving humanity and human intelligence. And yeah, so if I could have a title here, it's Interpretable Music AI for Humanity, and it has 3 levels: human-centric, human-aligned, and human-alike. And before that, I'd like to start from a question that my colleagues and my friends ask me a lot, which is they ask me, Gus, why do you think AI and have to deal with art and music? It's kind of designed for human, and why art and music is important to both humanity and AI. And I told them that, well, for a musician, I'm a musician, it's very natural that music is a part of my life. And if I think of this problem deeply, my answer is, come on, music and art is just the highest form of manifestation of intelligence of human, right? And so if AI could achieve that, we can say that it understands what is human intelligence. So because after all, artificial intelligence, the center word is intelligence. So at MBZUAI, we have a team dedicated to music AI research that is connect with humanity. And I imagine the following kind of scenario. Let's say 50 years from now or 100 years from now, there's a future city where there's only machines, right? Vehicles. I can imagine that vehicles, there will be autonomous driving cars or airplanes there and they have to solve this autonomous driving problem because from A to B they want to achieve this goal with shortest path with lower energy, okay? And also I can imagine 2 machines, 2 agents play Go even, because Go is a game not only to entertain people but also to solve uncertainty. It's a protocol to test whether your algorithm is better or my algorithm is better. Okay, so, but I can hardly imagine 2 machines will play music, because music is defined by human. It comes from our inner emotion and feelings, and it comes from human and it goes to human. Okay, so or in other words, if a machine can really appreciate music, then I would say humanity is already baked into this machine. Okay, so with that kind of in mind, let's start the journey of our research. So the first level is human-centric, which means our technology should serve for human musicians, of course not to substitute them. So in this demo, the robot listen to the human performance, adapt to the performance. In this case, it's me. And by the way, I'm a terrible piano player, though I can sing well. So you can see that I'm making lots of errors when I'm playing the song. But the robot catches my errors and understands what I'm doing. So that's an illustration of human-centric music AI. Okay, let's see if this goes well.
In the last year, I not only learned how to follow an improvised polyphonic performance, but also learned to do some improvisational accompaniment. Would you like to practice the famous song, Remember Me, together?
Sorry. And And so you can see that in the last thing that I'm actually playing really simple chord, and it follows me. So that's the idea of human-centric AI. And next level is human-aligned. In order to let artificial intelligence really serve human, they have to really understand what is musicianship, what is musicality. So the trick is to bake music knowledge into the AI model. And in this case, the demonstration is they can do music arrangement and music style transfer. And this demo is made by my PhD student Ziyu at MBZUAI. Okay, let's appreciate that.
Hi Ziyu, not everything is well in music at home. Recently, I learned how to do piano accompaniment arrangement for pop songs. Would you like to arrange a song that you like?
Sure. Now I'm very inclined to the mood, the famous song. I'm very interested in one version. Shall I play it to you? Here it goes. Can you try to arrange a piano cover for this?
That's a piece of cake. Let me process it.
Wow, this is great. If this is easy for you, can you try harder? I can use exactly the same texture on this piece.
You see, my student is way better than me.
This is one. Ragtime. Can you try to use this to ragtime into the room?
It's hard, but I believe I can also do it. Do you want to take care of the vocal part this time?
Sure. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, so I Great. Thank you, Dale.
You are welcome.
Okay, I have to confess that all the conversation, the speech part is fake, but all the music interaction is real. And that actually surprised me as a music AI researcher. You see that my student Ziyu was playing entertainer. He's asking the robot to use this motif, this texture, to do accompaniment for another melody. And this is what exactly great composers do for symphonic composition. And now our AI model can do that. And the trick I want to dive into detail today is to bake human knowledge into AI model. And the last level, the first level is human-centric, serve humans. Second level is human-aligned, to bake music knowledge into machine. The third level, or the highest level, is human-like. The question I ask myself is, okay, it's okay, if we bake a lot of human knowledge into the model, but it's like humans do not only possess the ability to, listen to our teachers and just get what's in the textbook, but also we have the intrinsic ability to perceive some fundamental concepts from the world. I think even if one is not musically trained without any music formal training experience, one can at least perceive what is music scale. He or she can sing do da bo ba bo ba bi ba bi ba bi ba bi ba boom, right? And this is just purely from repeating all the sounds, listen to a lot of sounds again and again. So, and for that part of research, we resort to modern physics. Right? Modern physics has this concept called physical symmetry is proposed first by Einstein in his relative theory. He thinks that, okay, by the way, in classical physics, it's like we first observe a lot of data, just like our current machine learning. We have data and we build model. And then we observe, we induce certain symmetry from the physical law. But Einstein do another way around. He says physical law is the fundamental design, one of the fundamental designs of our nature or the God. And from the physical symmetry, we derive the physical law. That's how the relative theory partially is invented. So we did the same thing. We bake physical symmetry into a very simple deep neural network, and surprisingly, it learns 1D pitch, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, linear as human perception, and also learn 3D Cartesian space, which is left or right, up and down, and depth, purely from the video like this, without any depth label. It's just like you have a camera. It doesn't tell you the world is 3D, but through physical symmetry, it says that if I obey the law of nature, then the real world must be 3D. Okay. So in this way, we kind of unify subjectivity and objectivity, and unify machine intelligence and human intelligence. I guess that's.
Thank you, guys. We only have 8 minutes left, and I'd love to open it up to the audience, but I just had like a flashback of a few years ago at the Global Art Forum where all the discussion around AI was about replacing humans, and now how it's just completely a different discussion, even in the publishing industry, which is where I'm really trained. The using of ChatGPT, creative writers using ChatGPT, not just to enhance, but collaboratively is interesting. So I'm very curious about the music industry and if that ever entered into the conversation, this idea of the AI or the robot doing the work for us and not looking at this hybrid kind of collaboration. I'm very curious about that. If you want to comment, you can, but I also would love to open to a couple of questions. So anyone has questions or comments? Well then, meanwhile, maybe you can, because you've been researching this for a while and you come from a music background, maybe you can talk to me about how 10 years ago things were looking in terms of this relationship.
I think for this question, I see AI as a tool to extend human expressivity and creativity. Whenever some new tool is invented, we naturally see a risk of loss of human job, right? For example, when the computer is first invented, we say, oh, we'll lose a lot of jobs. But yes, it kills a lot of jobs, but at the same time, it gives rise to some new kinds of jobs. So in the music industry, it's the same thing. It will let some routinized music production work get faster and easier, and so that musicians could think of some high-level designs.
I mean, yeah, a lot of it initially was talking about the speed of processing power, but what is interesting in the creative industry, especially with writing, is the randomization. So if you see words positioned together that wouldn't, it's quite poetic, and then you could end up, like I have met writers who are novelists who are into science fiction or other forms of art criticism who are working collaboratively with ChatGPT, which is really quite fascinating. Then you end up with a hybrid output as well. So what I'm saying is not only, we talked a lot about embodiment and performativity, but also in terms of what goes out in the world also then becomes a hybrid product, right, of different minds.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Any questions? Good, we have a question back
there. Hi, thank you so much for the insightful conversation. To add on Nadine's question, I think the conversation nowadays is around how artificial intelligence is replacing performing arts like some actors and musicians. In a way, like in the future, in a couple of years, you can think of I can give an order to the program and create a song with the artist that I want, with the lyrics that I want, and with the rhythm that I want. So for me, it's very important, and I would like to ask Professor Gas to understand from your perspective. Most of your research is how the machine can work with humans. So I would like to know if you're also considering how machines can be used as to help those, like, let's say, artists to become better, and instead of just replacing them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I work on music, AI, and human co-performance and co-creation, and I also work on AI-aided music education, which is related to the question you asked, right? For example, we create this haptic flute, right? This is a kind of glove you wear, and you relax and then move your fingers so that you can learn a piece by feeling your finger motions and by building the muscle memories. And of course, you cannot just relax yourself and let the machine drive you. So that's the beauty part. Humans have to be active. I see the combination of machinery and humanity is like one's improvement triggers the improvement of another components. Then we see a healthy ecology of AI system and AI boosted society, I would say.
Yes, of course. When I hear the word replacing human, as my dear friend just asked, music is replacing human, art is replacing human, creativity is not the art is replacing, the artificial intelligence is replacing human in the field of art creativity. And the way the word replacing, and the question is for all of you, replacing human, I can't tell you, when I hear this word, I freeze. Please tell me that we and artificial intelligence are moving together, and that this human emotion, sensitive, I mean, for me, I celebrate artificial intelligence, but for me, it's a new tool. It's like in the past we have the brush and this okay, now afterwards we had many colors. We combined colors was at a certain time. This was how we combined the colors. When then colors moved on, brushes moved on. So it's a technique that I admire personally, and I'm for, and I love to learn, and that's why I'm here with you. But replacing a human just freezes me completely. Please tell me why, and is this happening? Thank you. I will start with you, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think part of my presentation was also we cannot be replaced by someone else. The human as a unique existence, we adapt whatever it comes to us, and the resilience and the finding the uniqueness of ourselves is one of how the human has been survived. And for example, the artificial intelligence gives us tons of questions what human is. So we are looking ourselves in depth and to find what we can do better. And those activities the machine can take can be done by machine, and then at the same time being out of the box, because human has all these histories and traces which has been somehow, some part we are seeing the fall of economy, fall of politics, and all these kind of conflict what we are facing. We kind of looking through the rays of artificial intelligence and what we can do better with the shared mission and shared vision for the future. And there is a need for this artificial intelligence to be unfold in a way without the loaded concerns, and it's more about how we bring that conversation in early as early as possible will give us freedom to really bring the right conversation for the future generation.
Yes, I mean, when we started, we spoke about looking at both us and technologies as evolving bodies together. So that is, but also technology is a mirror, and it is sometimes a dark mirror, but it's not an opaque mirror. That's very important. It does reflect us, you know. And machine learning, part of machine learning is machine learning from us as well. But it's just interesting because it's not only an enhancement tool, but then I think it rewires our brain as well when we collaborate with AI in the creative industry as curators, as artists, as writers, as musicians.
So, yeah, basically, I think that Baek Nam-jun has already kind of given some kind of an answer for that, actually. He kind of believed that technology could be, you know, that when the new technology comes in, we actually don't know how it will be evolved, how it will be developed for the future. We thought we know that how AI functions, how we know that we thought we knew that, you know, how TV works, how video works, but actually it turns out actually it's not. So that's why Baek Nam-jun thought that people's perception or understanding of the technology is the most important thing, and then he believed that the art could be a bridge between those things, actually. So I think that there could be
I think, unfortunately, we're out of time, and that's a great way to end. Thank you all for being with us here today. Thank you. Thank you.